Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, NerdModon, and I'm going to be doing the next episode of Battlefield News, a video series where I'll be talking about changes and or events within a particular Battlefield title. So without further ado, let's get started. So for this episode, we're actually going to be talking about the road ahead. Now, of course, for Battlefield 1, there's a lot of new, really exciting information that's been recently coming out. So of course, we can definitely expect a very large patch that's going to be significantly changing a lot of the balancing features of Battlefield 1. But this also means that we can have specific events that are encompassed around Battlefield 1. So of course, overall, we're going to be having a lot of new content, but in this video, I really want to focus on some of the information that is currently available. Now, following the launch of Battlefield 1, DICE has been able to collect a lot of information about some of the bugs and some of the issues and complications that players have been faced with. Now, considering that Battlefield 1 has been out for a little over 3 weeks by this point, this does grant DICE the ability to go in there and make some fine adjustments, but this also means that the first patch for Battlefield 1 is going to be very extensive, but it's also going to be very well laid out for the community to see what has been changed from the original value. Now, alongside that, we also learned that hardcore servers are going to be coming soon. Unfortunately, there is no estimated time of arrival at the moment, but I can only expect that we'll be probably seeing this feature unlocked here in the next couple of weeks. Now, having the ability to have some hardcore servers in Battlefield 1 is really going to amplify the amount of playlists that are currently available to players that really enjoy that hardcore element to the Battlefield franchise. But having these servers available do allow players that are looking for that hyper-realistic gameplay to still be able to achieve that while still being able to enjoy what Battlefield 1 has to offer. A very enjoyable element of Battlefield 1 is from a graphical standpoint, the game is absolutely gorgeous regardless of if you're playing with HUD enabled and or disabled. However, having the ability to play with everybody else that is using the same settings as you in terms of your HUD elements is going to allow the game to be a lot more fair for those players. But it will also permit those players the ability to play in a strategic manner that the core game mode doesn't necessarily facilitate. Now, transferring over to a map-specific change, we're actually going to be seeing Suez actually adjusted from its original value. Currently on the Conquest game mode, each team is granted with one vehicle, and alongside that, we also get to see only 3 flags instead of the standardized 5 for most maps. However, Suez in the Conquest game mode is actually going to be seeing a slight adjustment from its original value, and in this specific case, we're going to be noticing that each team is going to be granted with 1 additional vehicle, as well as 2 more flag zones are actually going to be added to this map specifically. So in this case, we should see the action spread out evenly amongst all of the 5 flags in total, and of course this will take less emphasis on the B flag and spread it out amongst all of the other flags. Now, I feel like having Suez slightly adjusted in the Conquest game mode is actually probably a good thing. However, I'm going to miss the rampages that I was able to achieve on this specific map, considering that I did enjoy the linear fashion to the map. However, it was definitely prone to spawn trapping within the first 10 minutes. Now, alongside that, we also get to see the re-entry of Battlefest, and of course this will be starting on November 16th. Now, of course, if you guys are veterans of the Battlefield franchise, Battlefest will probably ring a bell considering that Battlefield 4 did have multiple of these during its lifespan. Now, for those of you that are new to the Battlefield franchise and or veterans of the series that may have forgotten what Battlefest is, of course I'll give you a little bit of a description of what you can expect on November 16th. Battlefest is a week-long celebration of the Battlefield franchise, and of course this will be coupled with new activities including login rewards, a live stream, a unique battle pack revision, a community mission, and much more that will soon be announced. So of course, if you're at all interested in trying to achieve some unique content, of course it's definitely going to be in your benefit to continually log in for that entire week, because of course you will be granted with some pretty cool stuff, and if you do have the ability to participate in the community missions, I'm sure your fellow soldiers would really appreciate that. Now, moving right along, we actually get to see the adoption of a brand new game mode, and that of course is going to be Fog of War. Now, Fog of War is actually going to be a custom game mode, and it's going to be one that's going to be permitted in Battlefield 1, so of course this is actually going to be something that's going to be premiering in Battlefest. Now, this brand new Fog of War game type is actually going to be a unique team deathmatch experience that will challenge you by limiting the amount of sight that you have while fighting due to the amount of fog that is going to be present around the soldier and as well around the environment. The Fog of War game mode is actually going to be disabling the minimap as well as the soldier name tags, and in this specific case it's going to be adding another element of hyper-realism to the Battlefield franchise. Now, considering that Fog of War is actually going to be limiting the amount of sight that is going to be available to players, and they're also going to be disabling some of the crutches of the core game mode, It is expected that many players in this specific game mode are probably going to be using shotguns, considering that they're going to be one of the better options due to the restrictions that are currently in place. Now moving right along, we also get some information about the Rent a Server program. This is actually a program that I'm actually really excited for, considering that I would like to have the ability to play some of the maps that I find to be better than some others. Giving the ability for the community to navigate and pick out certain aspects of Battlefield 1 that are in a really good standpoint as of the moment to amplify in the server listings, I feel like is going to really amplify Battlefield 1 and balance out some of the imperfections. Now, while the Rent a Server program might not be as extensive as the previous methods of Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and Battlefield Hardline, it is actually in a fairly decent spot. A lot of the options that have been shown seem to be within par of what other providers were currently doing at the time. However, there is still room for improvement, and I'm sure this specific program will go through a lot of revisions from this point until the end of Battlefield 1. Last but not least, we also get some information about an upcoming new map for Battlefield 1, and of course it is worth noting that this will be arriving in December as part of a free update. Now it is worth noting that unfortunately there's really not a whole lot of information for the map that's going to be coming in December, so of course Giant Shadow unfortunately does not have a whole lot of descriptions that are available for us to learn some more about this specific map. However, if DICE's current record for the graphical fidelity of Battlefield 1 is anything to go by, I am sure that Giant Shadow is going to be a gorgeous map, and it's going to facilitate a lot of new different playstyles that are currently present in Battlefield 1. But anyway guys, that's really all the information I have for you. Of course, if you guys are interested in checking out the article for yourself and reading some of the additional notes that I might not have covered in full detail, of course I will leave the article linked in the description of the video for your viewing pleasure. But until the next episode, guys, this has been NMO, and I'm going to be signing out, guys. Peace.